Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and I should welcome you all to this opening session of the World Water Organization conference. I'm honored to chair this opening session. On my right side, I am joined by His Excellency Deputy Secretary General Yara, to pronounce correctly, who is the Under-Secretary General for United Nations. On my left side, Dr. Harold O, who is the Chairman of the World Water Organization for this session. And on my right side again is His Excellency Mr. Rita Alamu Nega, the Chargé d'Affaires of the Ethiopian mission to the United Nations. I don't want to make too long comments here, but as we all appreciate, this conference is being held under the very critical circumstances where, according to the very latest information, 97.2.5 actually % of the population on our Earth, they don't have access to the world water. 98.5% of the water is basically salted water, and that we cannot use either for drinking or for irrigation purposes. Out of this, you can imagine that we have almost 6.5 billion of population in need of decent, normal drinking, safe water, I should say. 2 billion are out there who do not have access to safe drinking water. I don't know, as so many other things, sometimes humanity turns blind to some of the very vivid realities, as you can imagine, and I think this is one of them. That's why I appreciate that we have this conference on this very dire need and this significant topic. And with these notes, I think that I welcome you all, and I'd like to ask Professor Dr. Harold O, the Chairman of the World Water Organization, to just make his welcoming remark to this session, this conference. Professor O.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to welcome you all on behalf of the World Water Organization to this international gathering at the United Nations. This high-level conference on water and global health at the United Nations has brought together distinguished leaders from governments, the private sector, academia, and civil society from developing and industrialized nations to address the water and global health issues and related challenges, with a view to explore effective mechanisms for greater international understanding and cooperation. Today, large number of human populations are without safe water source or adequate sanitation, and the situation has turned into a global crisis. The lack of access to safe water and sanitation are the leading causes of morbidity and mortality in many regions of the world. The access to improved water and sanitation are crucial for the well-being and prosperity of the people and communities. On a policy level, water capacity building makes a good business sense because it reduces public health costs, help local economic growth, and can potentially lift communities out of poverty and the life of misery. Therefore, the conference today is another significant step as part of an ongoing global dialogue for finding effective ways and means to move forward our ultimate goal of providing safe water and adequate sanitation to every man, woman, and child on earth. I hope that the ideas explored in this conference shall help bring about the necessary changes in thinking and policies, and shall bring home the urgency to effectively respond to the global challenges with regards to water and health. While I am looking forward to a very constructive discussion during these 2 days at the United Nations, I welcome you all once again and wish you a great success. Thank you.
I thank Professor Dr. Errol Ho for his opening remarks. Now, shall we go to the second point of the agenda for this session, which is His Excellency Mr. Rita Alamo Nega, the Charge d'Affaires of the Permanent Mission of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, to make his remarks. I should say here that the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia has been generous enough in kind to host this conference as one of the major sponsors, which we here very much appreciate. Mr. Charge d'Affaires.
Thank you, Your Excellency Ambassador White. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a great honor and privilege for my delegation to sponsor this high-level conference on water and global health, a conference which is believed to be of paramount significance and timely. Mr. Chairman, a little more than 2 weeks ago, the United Nations held a high-level interactive dialogue to observe the World Water Day. The dialogue, which also marked the midpoint of the Water for Life decade, was an opportune forum to highlight the connection between water, sanitation, and climate change, and disaster risk management. The dialogue clearly conveyed a critical message that sustainable management of water resources is vital for economic growth and achieving all the Millennium Development Goals. Be that as it may, it was reported that the international community, though is on target to halve the proportion of population without access to safe drinking water by 2015, is likely to miss the related goal of achieving basic sanitation level. With over 2 billion people currently estimated to lack sanitation, the international community is likely to miss the Millennium Development Goal on sanitation by about 1 billion people. In Africa, the picture is extremely worrying. Despite considerable endeavor exerted by many African countries at the national level and the great number of initiatives taken to address the issues of water management, progress in reaching goals to halve the number of people without access to safe drinking water and adequate sanitation is low and uneven. Apparently, 340 million Africans still lack access to safe water, and 580 million do not have access to basic sanitation. 7 of every 10 rural people have no access to a toilet, while 884 million people use unimproved water sources. Mr. Chairman, the challenges are obvious: lack of capacity, finance, and political will to implement the decisions and other actions recommended by numerous conferences and meetings that are our main weaknesses. Addressing the challenges of water resources and sanitation remains to be difficult without effective collaboration among all stakeholders. Practically speaking, lack of cooperation hinders developmental activities in many poor nations in the world. There is a need to be active both in management and development of water resources and infrastructure in order to increase access to and effective use of safe drinking water in developing countries. Both developed and developing countries, in collaboration with other stakeholders, should work together to strengthen strategic partnership so as to contribute